What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Wayne Podcast. I'm joined by my co-host, my partner in crime, Sugar Ray. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing all right, thank you. See, like I complained about the barbers before. I got the trim now.
I'm waiting.
You
Look,
know,
still rough, but I'm booked in Thursday, 2 p.m., just
listen,
before waiting time. You know
the
why we're
best
here?
feeling,
You know what it is. Let's go straight into you know why we're here.
of
We
course.
we know that as the Wayne Podcast, and we talk all things boxing. There's nowhere else you can actually talk about. You can't miss it. It's everywhere. Amir Khan, Kell Brook. This is the big preview. So I want to start where I think the social media hype is getting. That is the gloves are off. Johnny Nelson said this. He goes, "This is as much as anticipated as Froch Groves." I want to get your opinion on the gloves are off episode. What did you think of it before I give my personal opinion?
Well, we were just talking about just before the pod. One of my main talking points that I realized straight away was the Kell Brook felt like he had a lack of appreciation and his want for accolades from his peers. Now, if that peer is, those that come before him, I understand. If his peers are like other British champions that are in different weight classes, I understand. Your peer that you want acknowledgement from shouldn't be your direct competitor, because I don't know. I said this in a group chat straight away. I said, I don't know whether it's Sky Sports boxing editing or if Kell was really that emotional after Khan said, when Kell was just like, I went through the hard route and I just feel like I never got credit for doing what I done. Which the thing is, I understand that part. I understand that he's thinking to himself, I done all this hard work and people didn't show me love. But the last person you should want that credit for is from Khan. Brother, you're meant to face this guy. And the thing is, you saw he looked glassy-eyed, like he was going to shed a tear. And especially when Khan said, all right, man, like, congrats, you done your thing. He had a look on his face like, that's all I've wanted. And then in my mind, I was just like, if this isn't editing, I said 1-0 Khan. Khan's beating him mentally, because that something like that shouldn't have had you so rattled. And two, the fact that calmed you down after, I was just like, nah. That's why I kind of like appreciate it near the end when Kell, even though I feel two ways about Kell not shaking his hand, I fell away because I'm just like, listen, keep it professional. Just shake his hand. You don't really hate him. Well, yeah, he does actually. But two, at the same time, I needed to see that energy just to see that, all right, he's locked into the fight. Because if he shook his hand after that whole looking teary-eyed and wanted the acknowledgement from Khan, that's when I would have just been like, open and shut case, Khan's got this. But that energy kind of reminded me of like, no, Kell still wants to smash a hole in his face. So let's see how it goes.
So I've got my take on this.
Yeah.
I think one of the clips that gets to me where Kell got Khan is when he said about, you know what it feels like to be sparked out. And I was like, do you know what? I like that, because then we went to that commercial and we were on that cliff like, okay, halfway through the gloves are off, Kell is up on here. Even though Khan can get, Khan's a better talker. I personally think, as much as we have like clips of Khan where he makes you laugh and stuff, he can talk. He's got that bravado, because outside
very
of boxing,
quick-witted.
Yeah, outside of boxing, he actually is a celebrity outside of the sport.
Yeah.
I personally don't think Kell has that mass appeal that Amir Khan does. Now, onto the clip that goes around social media.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Khan was so narcissistic the way he said it. The way he lays it off, you went to America, you won a world title, you did this, you did that, congratulations. And then as if to say, your main accomplishment and the thing you held on to, I did casually through my entire career. Because if you really think about it, Khan actually did. The fight after a certain period where he fought in the British here, after the British knockout, where you would look and say, you've gone on to pay-per-view and you went and you lost this way. You're meant to be the golden child of boxing for us. You come through the Olympics. You, instead of faltering away, he elevated himself abroad. And he before where he's had more respect abroad than he has in the UK.
For sure.
And I think a lot of it does lean to the fact that, yeah, he took his camp outside, Virgil Hunter, everything, all that came to the point where you had guys like Floyd Mayweather in the conversation.
And they just appreciate his style as well. You can't forget that. I think they just like, in America, I think he was just fighting at a time where win, lose or draw, they're like, I like that Khan guy. You can't forget that.
And what I thought was, Khan has won the mental game, but I already personally knew that Khan coming into this can win this because Kell is on emotions. I think there's an element of emotion with Amir Khan, but it's also the point where he knew this fight will always happen because you are chasing me and I'm not chasing you. But when the dust has settled, I'll fight you for a final paycheck and I'll make that British fight. And I know that'll happen. The one thing I'll say about the handshake, I think it leaves Kell in a worse position because Amir Khan's extended this olive branch, as they like to say. Personally, I don't think it was a case of, okay, let's see what you can do. Can you beat a man, take the emotion away, and give me that handshake? Because he didn't. Again, I looked at it to say, Khan's composed, relaxed. Kell's fighting on emotion. That's what I took away from this entire thing. If he goes into that, I think Johnny Nelson kind of said the same thing. If you go into this fight with emotion, considering we know that there is animosity, there's genuine animosity in this, your game plan goes out. I think Khan could come into this very relaxed, whereas Kell has to start becoming more relaxed. I don't know if you got a similar tone to that.
Yeah, I think is a weird one because it's a thin line. Because like I said, I was kind of happy to see that because it showed me that he still has that intensity of, after his comments before, it still showed an intensity of, okay, he is going in there with the right mission. He hasn't been disarmed by the acknowledgement by Khan. At the same time, if his reason, I think is also the way he said it, because if it was just like, do you know what? I don't like him, so I'm not going to shake his hand, and left it at that, then fine. But because he kept on going on and on about how he doesn't like Khan and he's not going to shake his hand, and it's like the more he explained it, the more emotional he got in explaining why he doesn't want to shake his hand. I was just like, you're not making yourself come off right in the light. If you're going to do it, let's be short and sharp about it. No, I'm not going to shake his hand. But this is what I mean by the thin line. But then he also said, listen, we can shake hands after the fight. And I respect that. I think the message wasn't wrong. Is the way he said it.
Yeah.
I think that is where the issue comes in. That's where people are looking at Kell like, where is your mind at that you feel the way that you're feeling? Because the messages, some of the messages he was saying throughout weren't wrong. It was just the way you're portraying it is coming across like.
And that's why, like, them type of parents, I think Khan thrives a lot more. I think another thing that kind of got me was when Kell mentioned about the jungle and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you watch me, didn't you? You're a fan of me, aren't you? You enjoy that, as if to say, you like me. You're obsessed with me.
Yeah.
I don't know what you are doing in your spare time, but you are sitting at 9 o'clock when you could be doing anything else, but you are fixated about me to the point
at that point, lie. Even if you have to say no,
you don't mention.
even if you have to say blatant lie of, I don't even know what that show is. That would be better than saying, yeah, I watched you, because you're just coming across like an obsessive ex-girlfriend.
Yeah. And I think that ties into kind of my theme on this. Like, I've argued with people, and I'd say this. Kell Brook has an obsession with Khan in this sense, to say, you are the golden child. You had it all.
Yeah, for sure.
I understand that. I've come up through the hard way. I need to prove this to me, but I think he also needs to prove it to everybody else. But I don't think Khan has. I think Khan doesn't need to prove it to everybody else. But there is an element of him now, where he is in his career. He needs to prove to himself. No, actually, I don't think Khan needs to prove.
I think with Khan, I think he's got more self-awareness of, this is near the end of my career. I've achieved what I've achieved. What I have done for boxing in the UK is unprecedented at that time.
Respected or not for it, it is unprecedented, like you said.
Like what he done for UK boxing at the time is like it goes very underappreciated, and it's like the same way I always talk about Asia as well, in terms of like now we are casually talking about these big boxing events at stadiums. Like this isn't normal, and it's the same way you have to look at Khan and just remember that the jokes may fly that he's got a glass chin and everything, but this guy was a world champion. This guy came back from adversity of getting knocked down early in a fight that he shouldn't have, got up and went to fight some of the best in his division and made us stay up late for fights abroad. He held big fights here, and just his brand in general is like he solidified. And I feel like definitely Kell, especially with Kell coming up from up north as well, Kell definitely feels a way of like that big fight should have happened. But it's the way they held on to that. The hope of that big fight is what's always made people look at Kell like,
Is that
why
your
are you
stealing?
hanging on?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, and even the fact that I honestly think he took the fight with Golovkin because Khan took his fight with Canelo, and then the damage that Golovkin has, on set on Kell Brook. Now it's just like that's a big target for Khan, and then he got mashed up by
Errol Spence.
and so now when people ask me how do you see the fight going, I just say whoever's body gives out first. Honestly, that's the way I see it. If it's going to be Khan's chin or Kell Brook's eye, but I did like the line when Kell Brook said, "Listen, I'm Terminator." It's a meta lie now. That was good on Kell.
I
That
like
was a good quip off him.
let's go on to the actual fight itself. So actually, go on. Let's just quickly on the gloves are off. Who won that debate?
Khan.
So we've got 1-0 Khan on the mental side. At this point, when we're recording, we've not had the open workout, we've not had the press conference, and we've not had the weigh-in as well. So just bearing in mind, we still got a few things still to go on that. The actual fight itself, it's been brought up as Kell Brook's power versus Khan's speed. Is it a bit too easy just to bring speed versus power, or is that kind of the dictating factor in this?
See, here's the thing. There's nuance to it because Khan's speed, we don't know how much of a factor Khan's speed is going to be because he's getting older. And as fighters get older, you lose reflexes, you lose speed. We haven't seen Khan in a while. And the same with Kell is that, remember, people don't realize he's got a hydration clause. So, yes, Kell might be big and powerful, but there's a clause in there that if Kell goes over a certain weight after the next day, he's going to be in trouble. He's going to get fines. And obviously now Khan has been training with Team Crawford as well. So you can tell he's like really trying to revitalize his career and get back into the space that he needs to be. Especially he knows that you can't keep on going back to the world so many times. That's what comes back to the Khan self-awareness. I'm very sure that he knows that I can't keep on, I haven't got too many fights in me at this high level. Because as much as he makes fun of Brook and everything, he knows Brook is a serious contender when he's on his game. So him, him training with Crawford, who's one of the, arguably the best pound for pound fighter in the world, going to his camp as well, like getting out of his comfort zone, is good sign on Khan's part because it shows that we would like to think that there's no stone unturned and he's taking this very seriously. At the same time, Kell Brook's also gone back to the Ingle gym. He's been saying, Dominic Ingle's been saying that, we've got Kell Brook to where he was before, this, that, and the third, but they're both aging. And like I said, it's going to be a battle of whose body gives out first. Is it going to be Khan's chin or is it going to be Kell's eyes? And also to the fact that both of them are in the space where their bodies are declining, and it's natural. You can't box for this long and your body not decline. You're both in your 30s. You both had extensive careers in amateurs as well. So listen, man, I was one of those people that said this fight is too late. I don't care. And I think I said on the previous pod, as soon as they got me, as soon as I saw the first press conference, I said, "You got me, man."
I'm gonna go on record. I didn't care if this fight happened whenever it happened, because just like how you say all roads lead to age in the heavyweight division.
Yeah.
In terms of 147, whatever you want to say, in terms of British welterweight boxing, I said all roads will eventually lead to these two. But I'm going to touch on one point you mentioned. You said about the Crawford training. and then you talked about Dominic Ingalls. You got familiarity for Kell Brook versus the uncomfortable versus for Khan.
Yeah.
Who in that side of things, where do you lie with in terms of what's more important? Going to an unfamiliar place. Khan's
Hmm.
touched on that. He said that if I could have had the easy route going with Virgil Hunter and being comfortable, I made myself uncomfortable
Yeah.
going to the mountains, training harder. I'm at a gym with Terence Crawford, like I said, pound for pound best, Shakur Stevenson, possible pound for pound
Yeah.
future. And then you got Kell Brook, who's gone the opposite route, who not taken the easy way, but gone the familiar route where
Yeah.
he's comfortable in knowing that this person can get me to where I need to be. Who,
Hmm.
in terms of edges there, where do you lie with? Are you more on the unfamiliar and to get more comfortable there, or you go to your best and then try to get the win there?
I think I edge it towards Khan because he's gone to someone who, ironically, that
Beaten.
team has beat both of them. So, and like we said, training with someone like Terence Crawford and getting round with him, you could only get better because when you fight with the best, when you train with the best, you can only get better. And I feel like, especially at this point of their career, like I believe Marvelous Marvin Hagler said, it's hard to get out of bed in silk sheets. So the fact that he's making himself uncomfortable is letting you know that, listen, I'm still taking this seriously. And this might be his last big camp because after this, you don't even know if he's going to fight on, but he might just, be like, all right, cool, this is the last big fight. Let me do this big. And then the next remaining fights, I'm just going to be fighting, I'm just going to be
Easy
getting
fights
some
in
coaching
Saudi.
in the UK. Yeah, because it's not going to be too many big fights left. So definitely that's on Khan's side. But at the same time, with Brook, yeah, it's going back to something comfortable, but at the same time, it's stability. Because with Brook for a while, his coaching status has been a bit weary of like, he's been bouncing from here and there. And sometimes you do need someone who's familiar in that corner to just be like, listen, forget all this like trying to learn from everybody's stuff. Come back to the team that you won your stuff with. And so then this becomes a factor of how much more can they add to Brooks' game, or how much more can they
Enhance what he's got.
enhance? Yeah, exactly. That, thank you. Enhance what he's already got. But I feel like with Brook, at this part of their career, both of them, it's not a case of adding as much. It's more about refining what you already are. And I feel like with Khan, he's probably like gone somewhere where he feels like these lot are gonna revitalize what I've had. And I feel like with Brook, it's the same thing. It's like you're going to a coach that knows you and knows how to get the best out of you. So I'll still give the edge to Khan, but it might be a positive on Brook's side as long as he puts in the work.
One thing I'm going to say now, and this is touch home for me. A lot of the big fights we have, it's always in London and stuff. We have
Yeah,
you guys, as they can call it, the Battle of the North.
the
So
Northern Derby.
I guess for the North, how big is this fight? The reason I'm going to say, I think this is on a scale, and some people are going to criticize me when they watch this. See how Joshua fights. He
Yeah,
can stand out. I openly said this. I thought the arena was too small. I think they could have genuinely, and the proof is in the pudding.
yeah,
You could have legitimately done a stadium because of how quick the arena sold out.
yeah.
Did
You got a point.
actually, based on the fact we've got Bolton versus Sheffield, Battle of the North, as they like to say, did they actually undersell this fight considering how big it actually is?
Do you know what? It was always going to be tricky because you also got to remember because this fight is years after it should have been made. They were probably tentative in the of thinking like, can we still make this as big as it is, as big as it should have been back in the day? So obviously, when it sold out Manchester Arena quickly,
Six
they're
minutes.
probably like, were kicking themselves like, oh crap, the demand is still there. But at the same time, everything's better in hindsight. You can always say, oh yeah, I wish I would have done this, that, and the third. But during the time and the planning for it, I'm sure that they considered a lot of things. And also as well, weather-wise, weather-wise right now it's not the greatest. So they might have also been thinking fighting in these conditions in a stadium at the moment, unless you got a closed roof stadium like is it Cardiff, if I'm correct?
Yeah, but I don't
Why
think
does-
that would work. For the hype wouldn't. The hype is here because
No,
it's
I'm not saying to
yeah.
have
I
it
hear
in
what you
Cardiff.
mean.
I'm
Yeah,
saying as in having a closed
yeah,
stadium. So I think it's like you gotta pick your battles because of the weather. Also, you gotta remember you don't want these fighters fighting in some cold weather, and you don't want no excuses of like, oh, it was raining and I was slipping, or it was mad cold, and we done a warm up and my body wouldn't
yeah.
warm because we went outside again. So it's just like cool. You got the biggest arena up north. You're catering to that crowd up north. They can travel to a nearer distance, and you know what? Sometimes I like that diversification because I'm a Londoner. I love the fact that big fights normally happen around these parts. But listen, man, the North needs to live as well, man. Shout out Manchester 0161. Shout out our crew in 0161. Shout out Burnley.
Hey,
Shout out Bolton. Shout out Sheffield. Shout out the North.
let's go to fan base there.
Yeah,
Sold out arena, leading up to just the fight, but also the fight. Who's gonna have the bigger fan base going in there? That arena. Let's go open workouts. Let's go weigh in. Whose fans are going to dominate that?
it's gonna be Khan's fans. Only because Khan is gonna have a combination of the Bolton massive, but then it's like Kell Brook alluded to, he's the A side. Khan is a celebrity, so
I'm sorry. You cannot, as your rival, turn around when Johnny Nelson gives you the question, who is the A side? You say he's the A side.
no, but do you know what? I actually respect it as well because it was almost a thing of don't be pedantic with me. We know you're the A side. Don't take me for an idiot. So some people feel two ways. Some people are just like he shouldn't have answered it like that. I think he done the right thing in just saying like you're not gonna, because then if he tried to deny it, I'm sure Khan had numbers ready just to rattle
Oh
off and tell
yeah,
him, have you
100%.
done this? Have you done that? So it's kind of thing of like bite the bullet, lose that battle to win a later battle. So I understand why Brook said he's the A side, but yeah, pertaining to Khan being the A side, he's gonna have the bigger fans. But I hope that Kell also has those fans around him that are like that come through, whether it's to the weighing event or whether it's to the fight, that show him support because seeing how emotional he gets, I get why he feels a way about how he didn't get the respect he deserved because yeah, he should have had a bigger following. However, he also needs to be accountable for the fact that because you kept on stalling for that Khan fight, you are also the reason why like people didn't feel you as much because your resume isn't saying much after you won the IBF title off of Sean Porter. Fun fact, I was so pissed off with that fight because I know we was at Steven's house, shout out Rocky Roach. And I remember whatever year that was, we stayed up late to watch that. And I called it. I said this will be a majority decision to Brook. Something in my soul was just telling me at the time, majority decision to Brook. And you could imagine the odds for that type of decision would have been high because who bet on majority decision? When that happened,
The money.
I let off a shout of joy and anger at the same time. Because I said, even just put a tenner on that, I would have made good money, decent money. Because who bets on majority decision? But that's neither here or there. But I'm just hoping for the best fight. I hope both people fight to the best of their capabilities. I hope that we can get at least past 6 rounds before finish because I want both of them to be showcase who they are. Even this is the last part of their career, but if they've truly put the work in, I'd love to see what the skills that both of them have been working on, and hopefully they can apply it before one person gets to finish. Or you never know, it might be an exciting 12 rounds. So we'll see.
Before we give the actual predictions, there's two things I want to touch on. One, the fight being at catch weight 149.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on that? The catch weight. I personally think, obviously, being the A side, Khan knowing I can go down to 147, but if I give you 149, you can't look at me to say I've not given you any leeway because this was at 154. I'm I'm telling you, I'm leaning towards Kell Brook easy.
Yeah, for sure.
49, and what the stipulation apparently is, I don't know if you're aware, if you go over by £1, I think
Yeah,
it's 6 figures you've got
the
to pay.
hydration clause. Yeah.
Yeah. So leaning on that, how smart was that for Khan to get down the contract? And two, everyone talks about ifs and buts. If this happened 10 years ago, where are you leaning? If this happened in the prime for both guys, where are you leaning?
Oh, Brook all day. If this was at welterweight in Brook's prime, where it didn't hurt his body as much to cut down as well, Brook all day. When Brook won his belt, if Brook fought Khan then, I would have said Brook all day, especially the fact that at that point, Khan was also in a part of his career where he was like, his ship wasn't steady, to say the least. And that's when Brook was on. That's when Brook was switched on. Yeah, just beating Porter. And he was in fantastic shape. But the older you get, the harder it is for your body to cut weight. So the fact, like, Brook should have been fine at light middleweight from a way back. He shouldn't have even been fine at welterweight. But light middleweight is just not as a sexy division as welterweight. Welterweight.
About Josh Taylor, light welterweight, the 140s.
Yeah. Because to be fair, I don't know who was in light middleweight at the time when Brook was active, when he was champion. Obviously, later down the line, obviously you got the Charlos, you had Williams, you had Jared Hurd, etc., fine at 154. So to see Brook is just like, if he does fight on, and I don't think either of these guys have too many fights in them, Brook cannot take a fight at welterweight no more. Stop doing this to your body. Because I think, listen, Khan was smart. He made it. He made it. Is almost like a catch-22. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna up the weight class to 149, but I'm also gonna put in this rehydration clause. So it, to the public, to the uninitiated, it makes it seem that Khan is doing him a favor by making it a catch weight. But at the same time, it's like he's not doing him a favor because he still has to have the rehydration clause in it as well. And listen, man, I'll say this now. If Canelo does face Bivol, Canelo is probably going to do the same thing to Bivol. So if Canelo wins that fight because there's a rehydration clause, don't be surprised. Because for me, Bivol beats Canelo, but that's a conversation for another time.
So before we do anything else, I want your prediction right here, right now, quickly. Where are you going and how is it going to be won? Quick and simple.
Everyone's going to hate me for this. I'm on the fence. Like I said, whoever's body gives out, I can't. Do you know what? This is a fight. Like I said, these are two people that have been broken down multiple times. I cannot make a bet on someone whose body I can't trust just not give out. So it's just like I said, it's just a battle of who is the person whose body's going to give out after a punch. Is Kell's eye going to hold up? Is Khan's chin going to hold up? Are they going to be a healthier weight? Who knows? What is the weight, the rehydration clause going to do to Brook? Is Khan going to be able to utilize his speed more because of that? I apologize. I'm on the fence.
Right now.
I can't trust neither of them.
You're going to think, I've got Khan decision. I think we're going all 12 rounds.
Yeah. I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be so.
Or there's the second, which is the late stoppage by Khan, but it won't necessarily be him knocking him out. I think.
Oh, you think corner stoppage?
Corner stoppage based on the speed of Khan personally.
Yeah.
But before we wrap everything up, there's a couple of shout outs we got to give. Fraser Clark making his debut as well on the undercard.
Yeah.
That's a big thing as well. And then we got Natasha Jones as well fighting for the world title at super welterweight. I think this card itself is a collective to show British boxing.
Yeah, for sure.
How do you feel about it? Do you think that they've done a good job being able to show boxer, being able to put on a showcase in Manchester about good British boxing?
I think boxers doing more and more after, the Sky Matchroom era. Boxers are doing the right, incremental steps to get themselves into upper echelon. So I think they're doing the right thing, like by making this fight pay-per-view, and the way they've been promoting it has been brilliant. I'm seeing so many like quote unquote casuals that are tuning in, which is always a good sign. Whether and the interaction, because even like you're gonna get people that are cussing it, and for every reason, at the end of the day, fires are fires, and I'm always gonna respect that. So you got people cussing it, oh, they're past this and third. A lot of you people that are cussing it, you are going to tune in.
100%.
Stop pretending. Stop pretending, because these are the fake people that keep on talking about, oh, where's the real boxing? Jake Paul this, Jake Paul that. But when real boxing's on, you are the same people not tuning in. So there's people gonna complain, but at the same time, I know for a fact that you are going to tune in. And I'd have to also say shout out to the Undefeated podcast, because we'll be going to a live event on Saturday night. So, shout outs to them, Travis J and KG. We're going to that because we are not up in the north where we can come by the arena like you. So we're going to be doing that in the south side of the country.
And I'm going to leave this on this closing comment. What you said about people not watching it, it's going to sound quite controversial because we're in February. This is going to be the biggest British fight we'll see this entire year. I don't think we're going to get a bigger fight than this fight this year.
It's potential. That's on Abbas. That's not on me. There's still potential.
I've called it. I think this is the biggest grudge fight as well.
Oh, for sure.
On Twitter for a very long time. Like I don't
for sure.
We have the Canelo Triple G possibility. I don't think that's as much as a grudge fight as this. But you give a little shout out where you're going. I'm going to give a little shout out, and I want all you guys who are watching this. If you're at the weigh-in, I'm going to be there. Come by, say hello, let's vibe.
Show love to the Burnley boy, man.
We're going to have a good time. I want to see the fans go crazy. I was at the Joshua weigh-in. I loved it. Now this is my home fight. Like I'm not excited for a fight in such a long time. So if you're there, shout us out. Come down. We're going to be on Instagram Live. We're going to do little bits. You'll see everything live. But also, before we do that, you know what we have to do? It's customary. But if you are enjoying the content, you know exactly what we need you to do. Like, share, and subscribe on the YouTube page is The Weigh-In. Follow us on all our social _ The Weigh-In _ for the Instagram. The Twitter handle is _ The Weigh-In _ Give us your opinions. Let us know. Is this the biggest British fight that we're going to see this year? How hyped are you? Did this fight happen too late? Or have we actually hit the perfect timing?
It's too late, but we're still here.
We're still here and we're still talking about it. We're 4 days out from possibly, for me, the most hyped fight I've had in a long, long time. But with that, we are going to wrap up our Khan Brook preview. Ray, any final words before we go?
Listen, man. Like the boys are going to do when they come to the weigh-in, we stay weighed in. So people stay weighed in, tip the scales, and keep posted on us.
And with that, bro, appreciate you as always for coming on. This has been another episode of the Weigh-In Podcast.
Love as always.